What is up, everybody? It's your boy Asgard94, and today I'm here to talk to you about Dragon Age the Veilguard, a game that has been universally shit on for the past couple of months. Does it deserve the hate? Is it a good game? Is it a woke garbage game? Let's find out. Now, before we get into Veilguard itself, I think it's important for people to know my connection with Dragon Age as a whole, why I love the series, and why I still support it to this day. I love Dragon Age because of the choices you can make in the game, the character you can build, and the companions you can meet and grow attached to. In Dragon Age Origins, they reacted to what you did. Whether it was good or bad, people had different opinions about how you did things. You could get really attached to some companions and take them with you and just talk to them, or you could go to camp all the time and talk to everybody and form great connections with everybody. You can make people hate you. You can make your companions leave by having them dislike you enough, or you can make them powerful warriors by having them like you enough. You could form romantic interests with people. Whether that was a straight relationship or a gay relationship didn't really matter. You could do it. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed exploring a world that was rich in culture, history, and different factions that had different opinions about how things were done. The Grey Wardens, the Circle of Magi, the Dwarves, the Dalish Elves. It was great. I love this series for what it is, and it's sad to see that the series has been dumbed down over time in terms of the strategy element and to some extent the RPG element. So I'm here today to talk about Veilguard and why I think it's a good game, but not necessarily a good Dragon Age game. And the hate it has received has been unjust, and how we should try our best to form our own opinions instead of being trapped in this echo chamber of just listening to people we look up to and think that every time they say something, it's correct. I will reference this by saying, I like Lords of the Fallen. That game was great. A lot of people hated it, said it was bullshit. I played through it several times. I've enjoyed it every time, no matter what. So, let's get into the Veilguard. Every good RPG has a good story, something that motivates the player to defeat their enemies, befriend their companions, and save the world, to be the hero. In Dragon Age the Veilguard, you are known as Rook, a person hired by Varric Tetris to track down Solus to stop his ritual from unleashing the Fade upon the world, essentially flooding it in demons and restoring the world to the way it was when he was known as the Dreadwolf, or Fen Harel. You succeed in stopping the ritual, but in doing so, you unleash the two ancient elven gods, Elgar'nan and Gillinan, upon the world. Tyrants of the old age that have returned to use the Blight to change the world to their liking, to rule through domination. So it's up to Rook to form a team of competent adventurers, of friends, a family almost, to stand against the known threat and form the Veilguard, a force to stand up against tyrants and to bring balance to a world torn asunder by war and hatred. Now then, the gameplay. How does it feel to explore the world, combat enemies, interact with people, solve puzzles, find treasure? A good RPG, all these things will feel somewhat satisfying. Because sometimes if the story is shit, the gameplay can still be lit. You know what I'm saying? So, how does it feel to play Dragon Age the Veilguard? Well, it's not like the typical Dragon Age games where it's a tactical RPG where you can pause the game and look around for things to do. You can still pause the game, but the wheel that has all the skills in it kind of obstructs it. So I usually use it just to open it up, do my detonation combo, and get it on my enemies, and then move on. It pretty much plays as a hack and slash game more than a tactical RPG, which is a big step away from the source material. I did enjoy the exploration aspects of it, though. Walking the world, solving pretty simplistic puzzles that aren't really demanding. You can easily figure most of the stuff out yourself. Some of them are trial and error stuff, but if you just absorb the world, read the documents you find about where you are, everything should be pretty much self explanatory. So it's not like it's breathtaking in any way, like it's this is so new and advanced. No, it's not like Ocarina of Time where It actually takes some brain power, but it is enjoyable enough. The treasure and the way you level up your gear is interesting. Instead of finding 100 different pieces of swords and armor, you find a weapon, and then if you find the weapon again, it upgrades its rarity, or at least its damage. And you also find memorabilia, which improve the craftsman in your hub's potency to make things. So let me explain it like this: you find memories. These memories enhance the caretaker, which he's called, and every time you enhance him, he levels up, so he can make your weapons +1, and then +2, and then so on until you reach +10. Of course, with every level, you need to find more memories, and it becomes more and more demanding as you do it. Now, it's not like you have to find every single piece of memory to max him out. You can find a good majority of it, and that will get the job done. And it improves, the stats of the equipment, like damage to defense, things of that nature. The enemies are decently enough varied, but every faction is pretty much a reskin of each other. But every faction has a unique enemy. Like the Venatori, they have the Bloodforge, which is like this hulking construct of blood magic and metal that spits out blight creatures and is generally a menace to fight. You don't fight too many of them, but when you do, you kind of remember it. There's still dragons in the game, which is great, though they tend to be pretty samey, with maybe one mechanic tied to specific ones, but every dragon has a specific element that they use, and the way they utilize it is different. So a fire dragon is, a fire dragon. It spits fireballs. I mean, what do you want from me? And if you have lightning dragons, they spit, you guessed it, lightning. But if you're fighting in a wet area, they will electrify the ground, making it hazardous to move around. So that was something I enjoyed. And I do enjoy going around, exploring different locales, finding merchants that sell you gear, and do reputation quests where you earn reputation with the various factions to unlock additional gear and upgrade their shop. It's fun. It could be grindy at times, but it's an RPG. I expect it to be somewhat grindy. I played Monster Hunter, so I'm kind of used to stuff like this. I did enjoy it for the most part, though at the end of the game, I felt like I had been going back and forth between the hub and the world way too many times because the way quests work is that you get new quests in an area when you leave, and then when you come back, you can accept them, which was a bit annoying. I would rather than just having a board where I can do all the things and then I'm done, and then maybe come back one or two times. But the way it was is that I leave, go back to the hub, pick up 5 quests from different companions, go back to the areas, then there's another quest, and it's just back and forth like that. It became a bit tiresome after a while, but I did most of the quests. I think there was one in Manrathus I missed, but that's because I didn't have enough resources to move the reputation up to the maximum to get the last quest. Other than that, I did pretty much everything in terms of questing and looting, and I did enjoy it for the most part. Now, I have to premise this by saying I did play on the hardest difficulty. I did play it on Nightmare because that's how I can tell if it's a good RPG, because it forces you to take the mechanics of the game into consideration. It forces you to level up your gear, to try different builds, and find what works for you. Now, I did not enjoy how the companions are essentially immortal. They can't get hurt. I mean, they can react to getting hit, but it's not like they can be incapacitated like in Inquisition, or, frozen in place so they can't do anything. They can just like like that, and that's essentially it. So it feels like they have less presence on the battlefield, which I did not appreciate, but I did enjoy the combat for the most part. I was playing a rogue, and it was a very flashy experience with a lot of dodge out of the way type thing and hit the attack button to get them down before they could mess you up. Typical stuff. Focus the casters, avoid the rogues until you have the entire party to focus them down type stuff. It was enjoyable for what it was. I did enjoy it. Now then, the characters, the people that will be traveling with you across this world, the people you meet and the main character themselves. How do they feel? And I have to say, the main character I did not enjoy too much. They felt very one sided. Like, you can't really be a jerk in this game, you can't really be a mean spirited asshole. Like, the options I saw most was you're either supportive or you're um, somewhat joking, even though it wasn't too funny most of the time. Or you're just a guy that's really determined and driven, like, we have to do this thing, which is like, okay. When it comes to the companions, they were they had their own attributes to them. Like Balara, she was kind of this naive, curious veil jumper. Nev just sounded really tired, like she needed a coffee every time I talked to her. But she came from a good place because I feel like the way they wanted to portray her was an exhausted detective that wants to do the best for the world. Um, Canis was really cool. I liked him a lot. Very charming, a very driven character that may seem like he had just tunnel vision on everything. Like he was just, I have to destroy this thing because it pisses me off. I did enjoy seeing Harding again. She has definitely become more of a character than she was in Inquisition. In Inquisition, she just felt kind of shy and like, yeah, I'm here. I'm doing my best. Please don't hurt me. In this game, she's more of a frontline. I know what I want kind of badass thing, and I did like her story a lot. Tosh, which is the more controversial character, at least if you listen to what people say on the interweebs, um, she started off pretty blunt, like very singular and very meh. But the more I played with her, the more I started to enjoy her character. Like when she finally embraced who she was, with some help from me, she became a badass fighter that was like, "We're gonna take this thing down," and I did enjoy that. So they were a character that started out rough, but they became better as the game went along, which I feel like is a realistic expectation of somebody you've never met before. Of course, they're gonna be shy. They don't know you, like how many people have you met that are not trying to sell you something or get something out of you? They're just somebody you're gonna end up being friends with, but it just starts out very awkward, and both are kind of quiet. We don't know what to say. Like it's like an introvert meeting an extrovert. It's like it's very weird, and the balance is not really all there, but it gets there in the end, and that's kind of what I liked about her. Devlin was kind of fun. He was a bit driven, and honestly, he seemed like he just wanted to off himself all the time. But I did enjoy his father-son relationship with Asan. Asan being a pet griffin that he became the sole foster father of after his other foster parents were destroyed. So he kind of had to take on this difficult role of teaching Asan how to be a proper griffin for the wardens. And their journey was great. I did enjoy it a lot. And Emmerich was an interesting take on a necromancer because I think people, when they think of a necromancer, they think of like this dark, brooding, don't talk to me, I will kill you type of character. But Emmerich was more like, I joked about it because he looks like Alfred from Batman. He just felt like an Alfred with magical powers, but not the same, like badassery that Alfred comes up to in the comics. But I did enjoy him for what he was. Varric, he didn't really take an active role in this one. He took a more of a sitting on the sidelines kind of guy, but the reason for that gets explained in the story, but I won't spoil that here. That's up for you to discover. I did enjoy the back and forth banter with Solus a lot when you had those dream sequences when you would talk to him. Because part of me is like, we tried to stop this guy at the beginning of the game. Why should I trust anything he has to say? But then again, he is a god, and he wants the other gods to not be alive anymore, so maybe I should trust him, but do it in a very, like, v- wary kind of way. Like, I trust you, but I will definitely kill you if you say something shit that I don't trust. So the characters were a bit one dimensional, but I think I enjoyed the companions more than I enjoyed the actual main character because he just felt like, I am a hero, therefore I have to be nice to everyone all the time. and never be an asshole. It's just, yeah, it just felt kind of stiff, like they were scared to have a personality, you know. And I just wish it could have been different. But I think that's the thing that happens when you have a voiced character, main character, is that they fall into like this one dimension. Even though if you look at Fallout 4 and the protagonist there, you can be a bit of a dick. You can be a bit of a smug guy, a bit of an aggressive dude. So why couldn't we do that in Veilguard? That's all I'm asking, you know? Why couldn't we be a bit more fleshed out and have different ways of doing things? Now, the world itself. What are we fighting for? Where are we going? What are we experiencing? What are we witnessing? Well, first of all, you have Minrathos, where you deal with Solus. And you have Arlatan Forest, which is a forest covered in elven ruins and veil jumpers trying to uncover the mysteries of their heritage and stopping artifacts from, nuking the forest. You have Ravane, which is kind of like a pirate coast infested by Antam and dragon hunters. You have Treviso, which is like, I feel like I'm in Italy, going around the shadows, talking with the crows, dodging Antam war bands. It's great. I enjoy it. I enjoy traversing these lands. They have different ways of exploration to them. Like in Treviso, for example, you are mostly just using these like rails to fly around from one rooftop to the next and discover traders and shadowy people, organizations that try to undermine you, and of course the Antam, which are there, and they're not very subtle because they're Canary. Of course they're not. Uh, Venatori. There's way too many Venatori, to be fair. I wish they could introduce a little bit extra instead of it being 90% Venatori. But I think that might be because of the decisions I made. Because you get like a specific decision that affects one of the cities, and you kind of have to pick and choose which one you will save. So I think that's why there were so many Venatori specifically in my playthrough. I can't say for certain because I only played through it once. But one thing they do is that they have every time you make an important decision, the game saves. So they make like a decision save marker where I think it saves after you make the decision, not before, because I didn't want to save scum to get the best decisions. I wanted to just stick with my choices, play the game, and see what happens, and see if it's worth it. And, I did enjoy some of it. From what I understand, the place you don't save, it becomes permanently changed. So you have to go back and re-explore. It's not like things you didn't pick up gets locked out by the change, but it's like you may have to approach things differently. There are different enemies there now, and the people that were trying to take the place now have an easier time of doing it. So there's more of them, more people in suffering, more pain, more you know sadness in general. But I like it. I like that my decision had an impact. I enjoy that. Now, are the areas big enough? I feel they are. I feel like they're not too big, like they were in Inquisition, like you're just walking forever and it never ends. Like you have a lot of city streets you walk through, and they don't feel samey. They feel like I feel like every city you visit, they have something about them that is compelling enough to justify having more than one city that you're just walking through. I do enjoy the open, like rugged areas like Arlington Forest and Rivani. You even have a little combat arena that you can just go into and fight some enemies for gold and glory, which is what they say, the Lords of Fortune. And I do love exploring the crypts of Navara. I think that's my favorite area, simply because it's all of the undead aspect of it and how Navarans and the necromancers treat death in the service of life. I do like fighting demons. I do like fighting Darkspawn. The only thing I didn't really enjoy was the Venatori because it's just way too much magic. But it makes sense. They're Venatori. They're all about blood magic. Of course, they would have a shit ton of mages. But yeah, the world is great. Uh, I do enjoy it for what it is, and I enjoyed exploring it, finding treasure, and solving problems. And now for the big why of it all. Why did I make this video? Why did I even play this game? I mean, people have been shitting on it so much. You would expect it would be the second coming of Satan, like it spawned out of nowhere and everything about it is bad. I was like, okay, the game is free. I can experience it without sacrificing any of my money, and I can form my own opinions about it. This is a rare opportunity, right? A lot of these AAA games, they don't drop in price for years, and now you can just get it for free. Of course, there's a reason something that was worth $90 is now free. It's because it's not selling well, and it desperately needs to make more player counts rise for the investors to justify funding more projects from the studio. Makes sense. Did I enjoy the game for what it is? I enjoyed it for being a decent game. Did I enjoy it for being a Dragon Age game? No, I did not. I enjoyed it for being a hack and slash game that had a T-shirt that said Dragon Age on it. I did enjoy it for what it was, but I did not enjoy it as a Dragon Age fan. That is sad to say. If you come into this game, like let's say you have just finished Origins, and then you're like, oh, I want to skip to the most recent game and try Veilguard. First of all, you will be confused as all hell as to what the fuck is going on, but you will also you will have the opinion that it should at least be as good as Origins, right? No, it's not, because it's not going to be as RPG heavy or tactical heavy as Origins is. You will be disappointed if you come here with that mindset. If you come here to play a game, you will have a fun time, especially if you get it for free. Because, I mean, price tags justify what people expect from a game. It does not justify the quality of the game, because that's on the studio that makes the game and how much time they are given to make the game good. You know how it is, how it always is. The developers want to make a certain type of game, and the investors, they want the game to come out within a certain amount of time. And when those two things collide, you usually get a mess. But I will say this though, the game is not a buggy mess. I didn't encounter a single bug. The only bug I encountered was that the audio would stop, like there wouldn't be any music playing. But that was because I sat up for multiple days playing the game. I fell asleep with my PlayStation on, so when I came back on, there was no sound. So that's not the game's fault. That's my fault. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I didn't have a single crash. A couple of games that have come out on the PlayStation have had a tendency of crashing for no apparent reason. And that wasn't the case with this game. This game was running smoothly the entire time, and it was great. Am I a graphics nerd? Do I know like all the FPS bullshit or anything? No. All I saw was that the game looked good, it played well, and I enjoyed it for what it was. And I think that brings me to my last point and the most important point and the whole reason why I made this video. I came into this game expecting it to be a meme. I expected to laugh my ass off and stop playing it halfway through because I was like, oh, this shit's bad. Everybody else was right. All these big creators that were yelling about how shit the game was, they were correct as usual. But no, they're not correct. The game is not bad. It's not a woke, stinking pile of garbage. It is a decent game. Is it a decent Dragon Age game? No, it's not. Because I know what Dragon Age started as, and where it's at now is a shadow of what it used to be. That is correct. But it's not a bad game. If you like the game, you might even be tempted to try the older games. Just know that the older games are severely different. It's like if you look at Elder Scrolls, right? You look at how in depth the RPG mechanics used to be with Daggerfall, let's say. And then you can see with every new release of the Elder Scrolls games, it becomes more and more dumbed down to make it more accessible. Now, could an average Joe get into Dragon Age and have a fun time with it? Absolutely. That's why the difficulty slider is there. So you can learn as you play instead of having somebody spend 30 minutes tell you how to play the game on YouTube. You can get into it and play it, and if you enjoy what you do, you can increase the difficulty, right? It's like with Dark Souls. You start out the game, same as everybody else, and if you want to do a challenge run, you can. That's up to you. But the game does not deserve the hate it's gotten. It deserves the distaste from Dragon Age fans, for sure, but it does not deserve people jumping on it and calling it a piece of shit and sending people death threats. And I'm like, why is that such a common thing to just threaten people with death when they are forced to make a shitty product? You gotta understand the developers are not the ones responsible for this. It is the people above them that tell them to make this garbage that's responsible for it. Unless I forget, the lead developer on Veilguard jumped ship. So now go and ruin something else. And the developers are stuck with the pain and suffering. For shame. So, I will end this by saying I think this game is decent. It is a 6 out of 10 for me. It is slightly above average with the visuals. The combat is good. The story is decent enough. The characters in the game could use some work. But it's a stable experience. It runs smoothly, no bugs. Music is good. The world is nice and beautiful. And, building a character is decent enough. I just wish the actual person that you're playing as would have a bit more of a personality. But the companions make up for that. And yeah, it's a decent game. I enjoyed it. I recommend people to play it, especially if you can get it for free now. And yeah, that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's the first time I've ever made a YouTube video, as in just recording myself. So I am struggling a bit with looking at the camera and coming up with things to say on the spot. But I did enjoy doing this. And if you guys have any feedback to give me, or you want to talk about what I discussed in this video, be sure to hit the comment section down below. I leave it open so people can say what they want. Whether that is hating on me for daring to have an opinion, or agreeing with what I say, or, speculating, or going into it a bit deeper, feel free to talk to me down below. I love Dragon Age, and I'm more than happy to talk about it. And if you liked the video, consider liking it. And if you like me, consider subscribing. That's it from me. It's been your boy Ascord94. Y'all have a good one. And don't forget, make up your own mind. Don't let somebody make it for you. Take care.